Hey guys, it's Coeval here. I've got a bit of a differently formatted video for you guys. We're just going to stay in Discord and just go over a bunch of this juicy drama. But before, I wanted to just kind of introduce what I'm going to go over. So this is in the tournament discussion channel. We've got a Season 18 tournament coming up that's going to be on 10 Alien World. And there's a bit of drama surrounding the tournament rewards. Before I go into that, though, I want to just kind of recap what this tournament is. So we're in Season 18. It's a divisional tournament. We've got a divisional format where Division 1 is the upper division, Division 2 is the lower division. You can get to Division 1 by performing well in tournaments since Season 10. So the better you perform, the more wins you get, the higher your rating, and there's a certain cutoff for rating that gets you into Division 1. So for this tournament, it's going to be 1v1, 10 seconds, standard spellbooks, Alien World, default Arma, sandbox mode, and you can't use any full books. I won't read through all of this, but you can kind of see what the format is like. Division 1 round robin, some point system for wins and losses, Division 2 double elimination, and some BO3 for the finals in losers and BO5 for the grand finals. So that's just a little bit of context about what tournament we're talking about, and I just wanted to jump into some of this drama because there's a lot going on. And so the main summary of kind of the issue at hand is that in Division 1 you have an opportunity to get rewards, and those are trophy icons. First trophy icon, second silver trophy icon, third bronze trophy icon. In Division 2 you don't get any rewards. Also in Division 1 the winner gets a cosmetic. So a cool cosmetic too. In Division 2 you don't get any rewards. There's no trophy icons, there's no cosmetic, there's just the opportunity to compete for Division 1. The opportunity to just stack up your wins and be able to participate in Division 1 in the future. So what we have is we have one side, and this will become clearer like who is arguing for what side when I get into the drama, but one side saying Division 2 players need an incentive beyond a quote-unquote opportunity to compete. Like, it's just not worth it at all. Why the fuck am I even doing tournaments? I know I might only want to play in one tournament because maybe I'm busy and I don't have the ability to grind out cumulatively tournaments over time, month after month, and I shouldn't really have to do that. And the other side is arguing, well, I had to grind through a bunch of tournaments to get to my spot in Division 1. I grinded my ass through Division 2, and so you should do that too. Just, suck it up. Or they'd be saying that, well, there should be enough motivation to have the chance to face these great players and play at a high level. So that's kind of a summary of the drama. We're going to jump in now. And yeah, basically it starts with Usman asking, okay, question, if I sign up and assume I'll be Division 2, does that mean that I cannot achieve a trophy spot at Inc? So he says correct. And he says, okay, that seems lame. You have to wait for one tournament to get in Division 1, maybe more, and no chance for a trophy. Okay, this makes sense, right? He's saying that if I'm in Division 2, I can't get to Division 1 until I play through this whole tournament in Division 2, and then I might have a chance to be in Division 1, but I might not. I might have to wait for several tournaments, and I'm never going to have a chance for a trophy. It's going to take forever. He's thinking more so, okay, we should maybe have Division 1 and Division 2 play at some point together, and Inc is saying, well, there's the Open Cup, and you can have a different reward for that, and D2 players can compete for that reward. But, Usman is kind of saying, that's not really the same. And, yeah, I agree for the most part. And 1V is saying, well, we could maybe award the D2 a trophy. And my issue with that was kind of like it'll always be designated as like a Division 2 trophy. And then that also devalues the trophy itself. Because then it's like, oh, Division 1 gets a trophy and Division 2 gets a trophy. Sure, you could say, oh, Pure could like make different icons for Division 2 trophies and Division 1 trophies, but then we have that same issue of, well, someone always will devalue your win because, oh, it's Division 2. Like, you're not as good as me. I'm in Division 1 type of bullshit. So Zartak is on the side of like not wanting to have this reward system where there's no reward for Division 2. He's with Usman and he says, this is lame. And Nev is saying, well, Division 2 would have to be completed before Division 1 starts. That makes a lot of sense too, because he's saying that like you'd have to get through all of Division 2 to kind of determine who would move up to Division 1, and then that player could participate in Division 1 tournament. Makes a good suggestion here. Can I not sign up for Division 1 specifically? You can't do that. And 1v still talking about the medals. And then we kind of jump into a bit more of the kind of back and forth discussion. We've got Spork and Harp here who are on the side of, oh no, you know, having the incentive to play these Division 1 players, that's enough. And Spork is kind of saying that Division 2 would be pretty hard to get out of, and he's posing the point that like maybe Division 1 is a little bit too small, and saying that it should be pretty competitive. So going on a little bit of a tangent there, but let's see here. Harp kind of takes a shot at Usman, which is pretty funny to me. He says Slimbill and Cryo deserve to be in there, which I agree. In Division 1, Cryo's a great tens player. He just does not very active. And Slimbill too, also a great tens player who's not very active. And then he says Usman, if he actually cared to take the game seriously, deserves to be in there. But I know he's more casual right now. I'm not sure where this, this seems a little charged. Cared to take the game seriously, as if like you're better if you take the game seriously. So I was like, damn. All right, Harp. But he's bringing out the big guns. And yeah, of course, Usman is saying, I don't want to play if I can't try for the trophy. And I get that. And he says I had a chance in the past, and now that he doesn't get one. And he just means that now he's in Division 2, and he's not able to compete for a trophy. But in past tournaments, you could compete for a reward. There wasn't this sort of divisional system. You didn't have to wait for several tournaments. And of course he points out that, yeah, if you're in Division 1, which Spork and Harp are, you would be fine with this reward system where Division 1 players get a reward and Division 2 players don't. Totally makes a bunch of sense. So, and he's kind of saying, yeah, I mean, to be fair, you didn't sign up last tournament. So again, this argument that, oh, well, it's cumulative. Like, Usman, you have to be up, grinding your ass off 8 hours a day in every tournament, getting to be the best, rank 1, motivation and desire to just absolutely crush the leaderboards. And only then, only after you grind your ass through 5 tournaments can you deserve to be in the Division 1 throne. So, of course he says, well, what other system would you suggest? They're kind of challenging Usman a bit here. I'm joking around. And here Pure makes an interesting point. He says the problem with grinding out tournaments is, what if you wanted to go after the asset that is the reward for the Alien World tournament? But, well, sucks to suck, you're in Division 2. Too bad. You would love to grind it out and, get through a few tournaments. Maybe in a month or so, you'd be able to get to Division 1. But then you're going for an absolutely different cosmetic. Maybe you don't even want that piece of shit, right? And, that's a solid point, right? And I don't know. I think personally, just to interject a little bit, with a game like Arc, which has like a pretty small player base, it's important not to focus like as much on cumulative tournament participation and performance. Instead, just like focus on making the individual tournament as accessible as possible, because like, to be honest, most people are casual in this game, and even many Division 1 players don't even grind the game hard anymore. So yeah, I would be a proponent of that, where we just focus on each individual tournament. And I think Usman would mentions this a bit later too. And 1v's kind of siding with Usman here, you'll see that. And then we're talking about the Arma. We sidetrack on the Arma. 1v calls someone a moron. So now we're getting into some juice. Some juicy stuff. I've never been a fan of the div system, so Tiger's on the Usman and 1v and maybe Co-Evil Train. Yeah, I'm pretty much on this, leaning on the side of Usman, but I'm a little indifferent. Like, I don't care that much if it's one way or the other. But if I were to take a side, I would take the side of Usman here. I think the requirement for getting into Div 1 needs to be lessened. If you've earned a trophy in the past, surely you're up to par to play for another one. So maybe this idea that even if it's been like before season 10, which is where, since the ratings are determined from season 10 onward, so even if it's before season 10, if you've earned a trophy in the past, maybe you should have a chance. So he's just opening it up to a wider range of players, making it a bit more accessible, which I think is great, again, because Arc has such a small player base, right? So he doesn't consider himself a novice, which I wouldn't either. So if you are just not able to participate in tournaments pretty heavily and consistently, then you're not able to get into Division 1. And even veterans will not have the opportunity to participate in a bunch of tournaments. Not every veteran is an absolute fucking ultra mega Sweatlord. So, and Harp kind of comes up with this first controversial point. No, because tournaments preseason 10 were kind of jokes. And Usman says, okay, bad way of looking at it. I tend to agree. I was looking at some of the tournaments in the past, some of these results, and you can see Gaul won Season 2, which was, I don't know if they go through every setting. They don't go through every setting. Okay, this is 10 random map. And I was just looking at like who the winners were. This was like some sort of elementals tournament. Siggy won, and I don't know. I don't see, this is a teams tournament, right? There's a wide variety of tournaments. Tot and Usman playing in this one. I'm not sure what the format was, but I don't know. I won't harp on those too much, but I'll just show you guys a few different tournament channels there. I don't see there's any reason to like devalue these seasons, these tournaments from past seasons. And here he says, I think a lot were competitive, and it's a shame to be forced to play in Div 2. I thought it was a shame for me too, but I got it over with. And that's why we have Open Cup, so you have a chance at the award. So Harp is kind of the villain here a little bit. He's like, well, you know, back in my day, I had to grind out these tournaments. I worked day in and day and night, day in and day out. I was going uphill both ways to get to my schools, and it was blizzards every day, and you know, he's just going on and saying, you know what, I had to grind my ass off, so you know, you're gonna have to do that too. You know, tough shit. Deal with it. So he's saying, okay, full fire versus full nature on 60 Grassy. Man, that's so cheese. But you know what's funny about this is in the Nexus tournament, he actually beat DX with a fucking Shining Power Nature's Wrath book on Nexus. So I'm not sure you have much room to talk about, oh, this wasn't very competitive. I mean, I think there's an RPS element. You can do some crazy books and experimentation. That's part of the fun, right? That doesn't mean it's not competitive. And of course, Usman's kind of pissed. He's like, just use the most extreme example to make your point seem great, you fucking dumbass. Okay, he didn't. I added that part, but I don't know. I'm embellishing this a bit, right? You know, it's content. There were definitely some competitive plays there, right? And so we're, you know, Usman's like, I'm fucking out of here. You guys are just so dense. Feel free to ping me if I can play for Division 1. I'm out. Peace. But of course he's not out. He's back. So he's saying, you know, Tot earned them. To say otherwise and diminish it is lame. I tend to agree. No reason to diminish it because it was far away, and I don't consider his wins to be quote-unquote cheese. There's an RPS aspect to Arc in any game that you jump into. So, and I, of course, am thinking, well, maybe you need a different incentive than a trophy. Some sort of different cosmetic, or maybe some different system where you get like points. So this might be a good segue to talk about, like, I was checking out like League of Legends tournaments, and in 2020 they have the championship series, and like they use championship points, and that determines qualification into the League of Legends like World Championship. So I could see like a point system where getting 1 win in a tournament gives you a certain number of points, 2 wins more, 3 wins more, etc. First, second, and third place could get points, and then in the following tournament, the 3 highest sort of point getters would advance to Division 1, or something like that, you know, roughly. And of course, I'm just using random numbers just as an example. If there's 500 people in the tournament, it wouldn't be the top 3, right? But yeah, that would be something to consider too. And you know, 1v Dis and Spork as usual. And then I bring up my point about how trophies would always be brought up in the context of, oh, it's a Div 2 trophy, who gives a fuck? No one really acknowledged that, but Harpo was again saying, we got open cups, there's Usman's chance. And I don't know, I don't see any reason to kind of close these tournaments off to more people and make them a bit less accessible. Of course you could say, well, they are accessible, you're just playing for no fucking reward. And it's like, well, is that really accessible if you're not really motivating? You gotta motivate the base to play that tournament. There's no reason why only Division 1 players should have that motivation and the incentive of having a reward. So, of course I troll Harp a little bit and say, well, someone like Grace Caster could go to losers and face Koei Val and crush me. Like, I don't see that as a big issue. Poor Usman. The egos came and crushed it. You know, a 1v in here. Just spitting some of his opinions. Tiger makes a good point here. Imagine you want to join a tourney because it's the site you were good at, and in the end you find out you're automatically D2 and there's no way to even get to the real tourney. So this idea that, oh, you find out, oh, season 19 is 30 seconds comment. Man, I love that set. Oh shit, I didn't play in the last tournament. I'm in Division 2, I'm going to play for no trophies. And I'm not that good of a player actually, so even though I wanted a chance to play, I'm not really going to be able to play for any reward. It's just the opportunity to compete in Division 1. That's kind of shitty, especially since it's a small game. There's no reason to have a system where people are saying, oh, I can't get a reward, so I'm not going to play. You want to encourage as many people to play as possible, right? Then we got Calais in here. Kind of seems like the Div 2 players can just fuck off. And I said, fuck off, because why not? So Calais is on the Usman train, and it's weird. We have people playing like 10 rated a day, but then do one tourney match, and suddenly they need a break. That's true too. People dodge tournaments as fuck, and it's like, why are you doing that? That's so lame. Yeah, I can understand a 5-minute break. Bathroom, water, figure out a book. 1v share is the worst fucking meme in existence. And let's see. Yeah, RTS tournaments have people playing best 3 out of 5 and they take 4 to 5 hours. They don't bitch. Yeah, that makes sense. 1v's trying to rush things. Oh, what's the whole conclusion on Usman's issue? Pierre's kind of proposing an idea, which is top 16 of Division 1, and this again, random number, just an example, get put in, of Division 2 get put in Division 1, and then Division 2 is like a mini tournament, so it would be played before Division 1, and then those players who get to advance get to participate in the Division 1 tournament for the same set. So that's a unique fact. Of course, Harp is pretty dense at this point. Top 16? What the fuck do you mean? What are you talking about? You fucking dumbass. 16? The whole player base is 20 players. What the fuck? Anyway, so then he says, you know, we're still on this top 4. No, top 3. No, top 2. I think 2.5 people should play. And so we're just, you know, jacking each other off at this point. DX is bitching. Okay, not too surprised. Ink's busy. He was at some sort of party drinking or whatever. And let's see what else. The best players don't want to have to waste time. Oh, that's fucking elitist. Alright. I can see where he's coming from though, but just in a vacuum it seems like a pretty harsh statement. Like, we don't want the best players to face up against like 1Kers and just like, you know, what's the point even? That I understand from that perspective, but the way he phrased it was like, ugh, not the best. And yeah, so the Division 2 mini tournament is one proposed solution, right? They're talking about, I think, league championship series, if I had to guess. And Calais is like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is a small, like, 20-year-old dead game, and you're talking about a championship series? And I read up a little bit on the league series. I think I talked about it before. That was where I got the idea for championship points that I talked about a bit earlier. So, you know, there is that option. And, of course, they're fucking around for a bit, right? You can't compare it to the NBA. Spork was like, oh, you wouldn't have LeBron James playing against high schoolers, and but I don't know. We're not talking about like a huge time commitment. So what? You got to play like a 1K or a 1.5K in like a couple matches. That's nothing. It is what it is. So now we're just kind of going back and forth, and let's see. Here's a screenshot of kind of how the rating works, the rating system. This is, I believe, Low Times Division 1. So you're ranked by rating, and the rating is just determined by your tournament performance since Season 10. And so here we can see kind of what the rankings look like and who's in Division 1. And there's high times too, but it's simple. It's pretty similar, not simple. And of course, Spork's throwing some shade at 1v, saying, oh, you're way the fuck down here in number 58. But of course, it's dependent on how many tournaments you play in, so a lot of people can be super low. And I think I'm better than most of that low times list. I'd be 6 or 5. Yeah, I had that thought when I looked at the 30 seconds times, but then I realized it's not a ranking of who's good. I looked at the 30 seconds plus time and I was like, dang, I'd stomp a lot of people in this list and would compete well with at least 90% of the people and then maybe get stomped by the other 10%. But, and I'm way down low, but it's just because I haven't really participated in the high times tournaments in the past. And so here we're back to this whole point. D2 gets nothing, pretty much just a big fuck off. So, Calais is really big on the fuck off, and then he mentions that I just ignored it. Man, just give D2 like a slightly shittier version of the D1 trophies. Yeah, I love shitty trophies. Nice, Spork, that's a good suggestion. No, it's not bad, but I still am a little uneasy about that, because it's like, well, they're just going to be, all the Div 1 players who have an ego, which is every one of them, are going to say, well, that's a Division 2 trophy or whatever the fuck. So Harp gives some solutions. Give Div 2 shittier versions of Div 1 trophies. How would you make them different? Just make them smaller. Have Division 2 play the tournament before Division 1, I think he's saying, so they have a chance to play in Div 1. So that all makes sense. And, oh, he also says, Div 2 can take forever, especially when complete randos sign up for the tournament who wonder why they are missing their elementals book, which is just fucking hilarious. Because the 2 people did say that. Calais is saying, of course, the whole point of D2 should not be fighting for a D1 spot. And Mudball Harpo is like, oh, I can't really think about what Calais is trying to say. I'm going to see if he can elaborate. What should the point be? And he's saying D2, it was the point of D2 was to separate the ratings of players so they wouldn't get crushed, while also giving high level players a space to enjoy high level competition. D2 is supposed to be its own separate bracket with similarly skilled opponents. Not quite sure what Calais is getting at here. It seems like D2 and Division 1 are kind of the way that he's describing, but I think earn different rewards is a point that he's trying to make, that Division 2 should be able to have their own sort of reward system. But now it's just kind of the kiddie pool, and they're not even fighting for any rewards, so they can just fuck off, and yeah, it's fucking stupid. I've precisely seen 2 casual players complain, you and Usman. Oh. And then he says, because it's fucking stupid, the whole system. And then Spork says, you kind of are by definition and design. And I was like, oh shit. Fuck. Oh my god. This is just so hot, so wild. So Usman's back. He went to get his iced tea or whatever the fuck. And he was like, oh, it just feels like gatekeeping at its finest, which is basically like, oh, the Division 1 players can have their tournament and get all these rewards and have such high level competition, and Division 2 can just fuck off. And let's see if there's anything else in here. Did anyone call you a casual? Usman is a casual because he doesn't put in the work, so Harp's got to stick up his ass with Usman, I guess. I don't know why. But there's this idea, this conservative mindset, I guess, that you gotta, roll up your socks and sleeves and, put on your bootstraps and just fucking, you know, work hard. Work hard or hardly working. Hart pulling those 14-hour arc days to get where he was. And no one else should have to pull any less time, at least 14-hour days, to get where he was. And now Usman with some sass. Oh, this is where it's getting good. Yeah, man, I didn't put in the work and play through a Space Nexus and Graves tourney that was fucking shitty. I never wanted to play it. And now when it comes to a map and time set I sort of like and would genuinely want to play, I can't, because I didn't participate before. So this is a setting that he loves, and he's in Division 2, and he's got to compete for nothing. And I said, my IRL battery is dying reading this, which was kind of true, just because there's not a lot of progress being made, and I don't know. I think that especially Division 1 players should see that the priority in the game should be to make the tournament system accessible. And part of that is coming up with a unique reward system for Div 2 so that we can motivate players. Motivation is key. Yep, some people will not enjoy specific maps and choose to opt out. That doesn't make you less competitive or worthy if you just don't enjoy a certain map. You gotta grind through every fucking tournament, even if you hate a certain map. You just gotta do it anyway. Suck it up. And let's see. I mentioned something that doesn't really matter. Usman gets some stats and says, well, I have 4,600 games because Harp said, that's your fault for not playing a setting you didn't want to do at the start of a new system. If you didn't want to participate for the tournament itself, you could have at least participated in the tournament to be able to play in a future one. So his argument is, well, if you didn't want to participate in an individual tournament, you should do it anyway, because a tournament in the future might come along that's in a setting that you really like, right? There might be a 60 Grassy tournament in the future, and if Usman really likes 60 Grassy, he should play in the 30 whatever, or the 45 Mosley, or the 17, not 17, the 70 seconds, Arcane Crystals, FTT Watchtower, Elementals 4, small map tournament. So that's kind of his argument there. Do you think those 4,600 games were all in the past year, or have you been playing the game for a while? So, Harp and Usman are swinging dicks at each other. Well, everyone else is trying to continue the conversation. And he's saying versus your 3156, I have 4,600 and you have 3156, so I got more games than you. Suck on that. Sport can't read, and he says 54 went first, but clearly it says 51%. He was looking at when first wins. And then Harp said it's 51%, dumbass. And of course I said I wanted to add that, but I was showing some restraint because I'm staff. Why do we keep moving the posts and requirements? Just say you're gatekeeping just because you want to, so we don't have to keep going in loops. And Usman's point here is pretty hilarious, which is that, first of all, Harp kind of has a vendetta toward him a little bit, and he's pointing out that, I didn't have enough games played. Next he's going to say how many I played in the past year. And then he's going to say, what types of games were they? And then 1V's saying, he's going to want to know who you played them against. And then, he's going to say, were these on a Tuesday or were these on a Wednesday? Were these at 10 a.m. or were these at 8 p.m.? What was your mental state like when you were playing these games? So that's kind of Usman's argument. He's just like, we're just, really getting caught up in our emotions and doing a lot of gatekeeping here. And Ink is saying, I don't see how it's gatekeeping. All the people who are in Division 1 got their spot by performing well in the past few tournaments. They earned it, and there are ways to get into D1 if you're truly a solid player. But I still think that not a lot of people have the time and the energy and the motivation to devote a heavy amount of time to this game, but they may want to participate in a tournament, just try it out and see how it goes. But if you're not able to participate for a reward, then that can make things kind of rough. And I said I think it comes down to the fact you shouldn't be punished if you don't want to play a certain tournament or don't find it fun. You don't get punished for this in D1. Okay. And Spork is saying, of course, there is an incentive. And I said, yeah, the incentive is to have an opportunity to play DX or Spork or whoever. And yeah, he points out, they expect me to play a shitty 60 Nexus tournament. Some tournaments just don't work out well. You're saying I have to get through that to have a chance to get into Division 1? Like, fuck that, I'm not doing that. And here he goes. Yeah, he says it's an opportunity to play the top 3 players from the D1 side. That's enough. You don't need a reward. And I mentioned something that doesn't really matter, and Spork just goes ballistic with all those question marks. I just mentioned that, like, even as a D2 winner, I could still be far from the D1 players. But I don't know. That's me being a little bit self-deprecating, probably. I think I could compete with some D1 players. I was saying, like, let's say I go on a good run, I could still get destroyed in D1. But Puro was making a good point that you don't have a chance to begin with because you never have a chance for any reward. Unless, of course, you make it, you win the tournament. And let's see here. We're kind of going on track a little bit, off track a little bit here. And what else was kind of going on? Let's see, did I want to mention anything else about these tournaments? Oh, I wanted to mention too, I've looked at StarCraft, and I noticed that they have major tournaments, they have minor tournaments, and they have basic tournaments. And the major was the most prestige tournaments, and that they have the highest cash prizes. And the minor was less cash and less prestige, and then the basic was like, little cash and little prestige. So they kind of separate that out a little bit, like we do with Division 1, Division 2. Obviously, we're not big enough to have cash prizes and shit, but Tiger, again, this solution that was posed 2 hours ago, we should have a mini tournament for Division 2, 1 to 2 days. Winners get placed in Division 1 tournament. And let's see. Voice can't keep up with all of these essays. Well, pros, you gotta fucking start reading. Let's see. When's next 60G tournament? I don't know. Within the next 2 seasons. That's kind of cool. With very fucking strict scheduling. Yeah, another issue we have in tournaments is the scheduling, man. A lot of people, they flake on their games. Super frustrating. And we're going to be a bit more strict about that in the future, I think, to keep the tournament scene moving. So, let's see. And pros is on Harp's side. Funny how it wasn't as big of an issue when Mudball Harpo and I had to deal with all that bullshit. We knew what we had to do and owned everyone in Division 2 and made it to Division 1. That was the motivation. So again, if I didn't go through it, if I had to go uphill both ways when I was a kid, then you're gonna have to go uphill both ways. I didn't have Social Security disability and get my income paid when I was over 65, and so, 30 years later, someone's saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have those same benefits." That's the kind of argument they're making here. Let's see. Do you think people flake on their tourneys because they're nervous? Yeah, maybe a little bit. I've done that. Oh, not flaked, but I've definitely been nervous. I've never dropped out of a game, but I've thrown some games due to nerves and just kind of like, not being in the best mental state. I'm still a lunatic. You're upset that you're in Division 2 and you'll be hard stuck. Fucking pros always going after 1v always going after pros. It's so funny. Am I going to be confident that a Rusty Usman can beat Koival, Hilarious 1v OA, and Seto Kaiba? Not as much. Yeah, I would absolutely shit on Usman, let's be honest. I'm just kidding. Harper's too good to be playing in Division 2. Well, he's not. I like the fact that we have down Division 1 and Division 2 instead of a whole big tournament, so Pros is coming in here like Internet Explorer. Like, we've been discussing this for like 3 fucking hours, and then he's like, yeah, I like Division 1, I like Division 2. So, it's pretty funny. And let's see. Oh, there's KSS. You guys can get a peek into my DMs and maybe guess what that's about if you want. Say hi to YouTube, KSS. You think Buzz Lightyear 77 wants to play and lose to Sweats? These guys are just trolling each other's. Imagine joining your tournament and your first game is against DX and you lose and you're kicked out. Yeah, that would suck. That would really suck. I don't get your logic, 1v, because you always say that Ellie and casino players never play standard because they don't want to get stomped by Sweats. You claim that changes when it's a standard tournament. You don't get an opportunity to win. Why join a tourney with no hopes of winning? You're just a side deal. Yeah, that's fair. I play tournaments to play the best players. I don't care enough to win or lose against them. So he's claiming that, oh, I don't play because of incentive. I just play for the competition. But everyone in the back of their mind, they go for the incentive. They won't say it. Like, he won't admit it here, but I'm sure he enjoys having incentives. And of course, 1v says you can play rateds. That's competition. And I think that's true. Tournaments are supposed to be a little bit more high caliber, high stakes, though. But 1v saying, oh, you play a tournament for a trophy. Yeah. And Pros is saying, nope, I don't. So they're just fighting each other a bit here. And Harpo is saying, oh, they put me up against Captain Smiggle, Xerius, Kyojust, some randoms, I guess. And he's saying that, well, if you're going to remove the division system, you're going to have 2.5Kers play against these 1K noobs. And, you know, it's just going to be a clown show. But again, you're only going to have like 1 or 2 of those games, especially if the tournaments are bigger and we have larger player base. Like, then you're not going to be playing that many noobs. Like, not many people even sign up for these tournaments, right? So at this point, like, you could argue for not even having the division system at all, but like, there were plenty of reasons that we split it up. I won't go over all of them, but I do like the Division 1 and Division 2 system, but I think the issue is with the way that it's set up around the rewards. Let's see what else. Winning 1 just gains you Elo. How many people from Division 2 actually want it changed? So let's see, we're getting a little bit later in the video here, but if you guys enjoy some of this drama and you've made it this far, definitely drop a like and subscribe. Drop a like and subscribe for this shit. This is Spork at his computer, fucking just going wild, just fucking keyboard warrioring. That's so funny. You have to beat goal at least once to get into D1. Yeah, sure. Div 2 actually looks pretty competitive if you're saying Nev, Cryo, Coevil, 1v Slim Bill are in it. So it's competitive, but competitive for what? To get what reward? To get a chance? Like, I look at that and I go, I'm not going to get fucking out of Division 2. I'm not going to be able to get into Div 1. Cove is in. I'm okay with it because he let me know ahead of time. Yeah, I'm out of town. Cove is not a 10s player, that's a fact. Cove is pretty solid at 10s even if he's not a 10s player. That's true too. I'm solid. Thanks, Harp. Maybe he is. I haven't seen... Yo, Calais! Fuck, man. God damn it. But it wasn't his shit when I was around. Bro, I've been grinding 10s. I've been grinding my ass on 10s. I'm playing a lot of 10s, actually more 10s than 60s, so I'm getting better. Let's see. We're getting closer to the end of this bullshit, so just going to be in here for a few more minutes. Hang around if you want to see the rest of this golden content. Let's see here, what do we got? Yeah, I think this about closes it. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video, and it was a little bit of a different style. We just kind of stuck into Discord and just went through a lot of the different drama that was going on. I just want to say too, if I'm ever like throwing jabs at someone, it's just all in good fun, just, you know, like having a laugh. And I really don't have any like hardcore animosity for anyone in this community. You know, we're all just enjoying the nostalgia and having a great time on Arc. So yeah, that's some of the tournament drama. We'll see how Season 18 Alien World goes. The rate split will be December 9th, and then we'll have the tournament underway after that. So if you guys haven't yet, take a look at the Season 18 and Olympics info channel. Go ahead and click this trophy icon if you want to sign up and give it a shot. And oh, one more thing I wanted to actually mention too, that I should have mentioned earlier. Pure's actually thinking of making a tournament store, which would be pretty cool. The idea is you accrue like points or a currency through tournament wins and success, and then you're able to basically spend that and get different cosmetic rewards, maybe like a asset like skin, or maybe some sort of map skin. I don't know if we're doing any sort of map asset skins or anything like that, but you're able to get like some sort of cosmetic or reward in a tournament store after you earn currency for getting wins, or I don't know, maybe draws give you some, or advancing to like the semifinals or getting in the top 3 would give you some extra points too. So I think that's a pretty cool idea too. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and yeah, hope you enjoyed this coverage and enjoyed some of this funny drama, and have a great day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.